Okay, Your Honor, you should be on.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bexar County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Today is a plea docket being 7th day of March 2021 at approximately 2:15 in the afternoon. We have on our caseload today, let's see, State of Texas versus Roberto Luna, 39445, represented by Ms. Alma Benavides. State of Texas versus Edwin Ramos, clause 629-651 and 637-490, represented by Mr. George Schaefer. We have Mr. Nicholas Heffernan, 641-399, represented by Wayne Meissner. Ms. Fuertes is not going to make it today, correct?
No, Your Honor, she's been reset.
And State of Texas versus Samantha Rodriguez, clause 625-672, represented by Mr. Marshall White. State of Texas versus Richard is missing also, isn't he?
Yes, Your Honor, they cannot find him.
Versus Lillian Miranda, 637-501, represented by Ms. Alma Benavides. Ms. Patricia Zamora, clause 630-779, represented by attorney Brian De La Rosa. Mr. Jaramillo is missing also, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
State of Texas versus Robert Bowton, clause 650-748, represented by Judge Joanne De Hoyos. State of Texas versus Ramiro Alfaro, clause 648-531, represented by Todd Coronado. Mr. Deaton is missing also, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, it was reset.
State of Texas versus Jessica Little, clause 634-882, represented by Mary Petrozek. Clause 621-247, 620-538, 620-529, State of Texas versus Heidi Foreman, represented by Mr. Sam Locke.
Present, Your Honor. Ms. Foreman is also present.
Thank you. State of Texas versus Diego Mata, 640-821, represented by Mr. John Garcia.
Present, Your Honor. My client's here as well.
I don't need to announce this time, but I appreciate it. Thank you. State of Texas versus Steve Buckley, 645-288, represented by Renee Zarazua. State of Texas versus Raymond Morris, cause 638-535, represented by Paul Vasquez. And cause 640-462, State of Texas versus Byron Johnson, represented by Taylor. You're here today, are you not?
Yes, it's me, Judge.
Okay. That'll take care of that one. Okay. The batting order today is going to Alexander Ramos, Heidi Foreman. Hello?
Ready, Your Honor.
All good. I know y'all are. All right. Batting order is Edwin Alexander Ramos, Heidi Foreman, Nicholas Alexander Heffernan, Ramiro Alfaro, Lillian Miranda, Patricia Zamora, Robert Voshin, and Jessica Little. Okay,
So Judge, real briefly, that batting order, that pertains to pleas?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
That batting order, that pertains to pleas?
Batting order is the number, that's the order we're going to go on please. We're doing 2, 4, 6, 8 at a time, and then we'll do 6.
Oh, I didn't hear you mention my client.
Marshall, I didn't know you were here, but thanks for coming. You're being the next batch.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, once again, 629-651 and 637-490, State of Texas versus Edwin Alexander Ramos. 621-247, State of Texas versus Heidi Foreman. 641-399, State of Texas versus Nicholas Alexander Heffernan. 648-531, State of Texas versus Ramiro Alfaro. 637-501, State of Texas versus Lillian Miranda. 630-779, State of Texas versus Patricia Zamora. 650-748, State of Texas versus Robert Voshin. And 634-882, State of Texas versus Jessica Little. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need you to identify your signatures for me on 2 documents. The first document is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Mr. Ramos, we have an interpreter with Mr. Ramos, I'm assuming. And Mr. Ramos, my question is this your signature on the document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Schaefer, as attorney for Mr. Ramos, would that be your signature on this document, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Foreman, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Locke, as attorney for Ms. Foreman, I assume this is your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
Same question for Mr. Heffernan. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Meissner as attorney for Mr. Heffernan?
No, Your Honor, we agree with the signature in the document.
You do, fair enough. Same question for Mr. Alfaro. Is this your signature on this document, sir? Is Ramiro Alfaro with us?
He was.
Pat, did we lose somebody?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Is he back or did we lose
Can you hear me
him?
now?
All right, everybody be quiet for a second. Mr. Ramiro Alfaro, are you with us? I apologize, I don't see you yet.
Yes, I'm right here.
All right, sir.
Can
Is
you
this
hear
your- Thank you, sir. I can hear you. Is this your signature on this document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coronado, as attorney for Mr. Alfaro, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Miranda, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Ms. Benavides, as attorney for Ms. Miranda, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Zamora, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you.
And Mr. De La Rosa, as attorney for Ms. Zamora, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Votion, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Robert, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, Mr. Votion?
Yes, okay.
Yes, it is. All right, thank you, sir. And Judge Joanne, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Little, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Petrozak, as attorney for Ms. Little, is this your signature on this document? Mary, can you hear me? Did we lose Mary? Mary Petrozak, are you there?
Yes, Judge, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I have before me a document entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purport to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. For Mr. Ramos, I have actually two documents, one in each case, cause 637-490 and 629-651. And Mr. Schaefer, for the record, before I forget, I assume that this is your defendant's consent to plea by video conference is signed by both you and your client on both of these cases. I neglected to specify that for you.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and I noticed that for Mr. Ramos, we have two sets of documents. Therefore, in each case, both 637-490 and 629-651, we have a defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions, both in English and in Spanish. Mr. Ramos, did you sign these documents on each case, sir?
Yes.
And Mr. Schaefer, did you sign each document on each case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Foreman, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Heffernan, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alfaro, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Miranda, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. Ms. Zamora, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Boshin, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Little, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Each of you, by signing these documents, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Ramos, in both cases, 629-651 and 637-490? George, you want to talk to him just so he understands what we're talking about?
Judge, I thought he was talking to the interpreter.
I understand.
On it. C.
P. Anderson. T.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Foreman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Heffernan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Alfaro?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Miranda?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Zamora?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Boshin?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Little?
Yes, sir.
As attorney for Mr. Ramos in both cases, have you had enough time to go over these cases with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent? Mr. Schaefer?
He is, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Locke as attorney for Ms. Foreman.
Yes, sir, to both questions.
Same question for Mr. Meissner as attorney for Mr. Heffernan.
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Alfaro, Mr. Coronado.
Yes, sir.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Miranda, Ms. Benavides.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Zamora, Mr. De La Rosa.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Motion, Judge De Hoyos.
Your Honor, I have had time with him, and yes, he is competent.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Ms. Little, Ms. Petroszek.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Ramos, are you a United States citizen, sir?
I'm a resident, sir.
Okay. If you are not a citizen of the United States of America, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere for the offense charge may result in your deportation, your exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Ramos, in both cases, have you discussed with your attorney and been made aware of the mentioned consequences? And are you still knowingly wanting to enter a plea to these cases?
Yes, Honor.
Your Honor, for that, he has spoken with an immigration attorney who has advised him on these.
Okay, and Mr. Schaefer, I assume you also have given him the basics of what I read out?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay, and it is your understanding that Mr. Ramos wants to proceed with pleas in both these cases at this time?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Mrs. Foreman, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor. I am a United States citizen.
Same question for Mr. Heffernan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Question for Mr. Alfaro?
Yes, sir.
Same question for Ms. Miranda?
No, sir, no questions.
Ms. Miranda, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I'm a US citizen. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Same question for Ms. Zamora, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I am a U.S. citizen. Thank you.
Mr. Motion, same question.
Yes, I am, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Little, same question.
Yes, sir. I am a U.S. citizen.
As attorney for Mr. Ramos, in both these cases, the state fully comply with discovery for you.
They have.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Foreman.
They have, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Heffernan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Alfaro.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Miranda.
Yes, sir.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Zamora.
Yes, they have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Boshin.
Yes, Your Honor.
For attorney for Ms. Little.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Ramos, can cause 629-651. I'm looking. The charge he's pleading to is going to be DWI first offense. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that the same offense he was charged with, or is the state reducing it?
Reducing it, Judge.
All right. So state, make your motion. I assume it started out as a DWI greater than 0.15. Is that correct?
It started out as a DWI second, Judge.
Okay. So state, you want to make a motion in 629-651, please.
State moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. So back on 629-651, Mr. Ramos to the charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Ramos in 629-651?
Yes, Judge, it's 3 days in the Bear County Jail, a $300 fine, court costs, time and money to run concurrent, credit for time served, and we ask this be a JSAT, Judge.
Is that correct, Mr. Schaefer?
It is, Your Honor.
Make sure I get this right. Mr. Ramos, in clause 629-651, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 3 days in the Bear County Jail, a $300 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, judgment satisfied. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Ramos in 629-651?
There is one issue, Your Honor. He's been on devices to record his alcohol consumption for many, many, many months. We would ask that the court remove all such devices. I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't hear you.
The second case, 637-490, is that going to be a JSAT also?
Correct.
Yes,
Judge.
Okay. On everybody's cases today, any pretrial bad things I did to their bond conditions is going to be taken back. So we're good on all that. If they're on Scram, if they're on GPS, all that's going to be recalled. So obviously that works also for Mr. Ramos. So we're good to go.
Thank you, Judge. I just wanted that to be on the record.
No problem. In clause 637-490, Mr. Ramos. I assume this is an assault bodily injury. Is that correct?
Correct, Judge.
Is it going to stay in ABI? It's not going to be
Correct,
reduced?
Judge.
All right. Mr. Ramos, in clause 637-490, the charge of assault bodily injury, how do you plead, sir?
Contest. No contest, Your Honor.
No contest.
Court accepts the plea of no contest. Is there an agreement? 637-490.
2 days in the Bear County Jail, a $300 fine, court costs, time and money to run concurrent, credit for time served, and we ask this also be a JSAT, Judge.
So it's basically exactly the same agreement y'all had on the last case?
Correct, Judge.
And Mr. Schaefer, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Ramos, in cause 637-490, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of assault bodily injury. I find you guilty. I assess 3 days in the Bear County Jail, a $300 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, judgment satisfied, recalling all pretrial conditions, bond conditions. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Ramos in 637-490?
No, Judge.
Good
No,
luck,
Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Ramos. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer.
May we be excused?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, stand by a second.
Hold on. Your Honor, on Mr. Luna, where we would need an interpreter, we're not going to be able to do that plea. There was a problem with the information. The DA's office was not able to get the information filed today. So we cannot go forward with the other case that needs an interpreter. So you can excuse Ms. Sines.
All right, so basically we're going to reset that for some future
Yes.
point when the DA.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
And we can release the interpreter today, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so do it. Thank you very much for your help. Okay, in clause 621247, State of Texas versus Heidi Foreman to the charge of terroristic threat. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Foreman?
There is, Your Honor.
It's 14 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine, court costs, 36 hours community service, an APSE course, a driver safety course, restitution, if any, to Ryan McCarty and Ricardo Acevedo, and a no contact order with LaRon Charles Gordon and Tashawn Buchanan, and TIC cause number 620538, as well as cause number 620529.
The state was kind enough to put all this in print for me, so we don't have to ask questions about who all these folks are, but let me get them down on my document. So I apologize for the time delay.
And Your Honor, I'd like to address just a couple of things.
Sure, go ahead.
Number one, restitution's been paid, and we'll cooperate fully with any investigation by the probation department to show that insurance has paid all claims on those traffic accidents. And then secondly, she is in her own counseling right now that meets twice a week, and maybe probation could check into that to see if that might satisfy the APSE course, the APSE, which I understand is a stress management course. If it doesn't satisfy it, Ms. Foreman's willing to take it and comply with all conditions.
Who is she taking her counseling from? What organization?
Veterans Administration.
State, you want to say APSC or equivalent through the VA? Would that be equitable to everybody?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay with you, defense?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one question for the state. I saw one of the alleged victims being a Ricardo Acevedo, spelled with a B. Is that supposed to be a V as in Victor or a B as in Bravo?
B as in Bravo, Judge.
All right. Okay, state defense, pay attention because I'm going to miss something here. The court accepts Ms. Foreman's plea of no contest to the charge of terroristic threat. Although I have enough evidence to find her guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place her on 14 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $500 fine plus court costs. Is that correct, state?
Correct, Judge.
36 hours community service.
Correct.
Yeah. APSE stress management course or equivalent Veterans Administration counseling. She needs to provide proof to her probation officer. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety driver safety course. Restitution, if any, to Ryan McCarty, Ricardo Acevedo, and no contact with LaRon Charles Gordon and Tashawn Buchanan, taking into consideration clause 620538 and 620529, which is granted. They shall be dismissed and recall all pretrial bond conditions. What did I miss, state?
Correct, Judge.
You didn't miss a thing, Judge.
Hot dog. And Pat, how is she going to report to probation? Are they going to contact her? What's the program on that these days?
Ms. Foreman, what will happen is the probation department should call you within 48 hours. If they do not call you, you need to call them. If you have a pencil and paper or if your attorney does, I will give you the phone number.
Please.
It is 210-335-7200 and ask for intake. Now, it will be your responsibility to get a hold of them if they have not contacted you. So be sure and wait the 48 hours, probably sometime Friday or maybe Monday the most, but call them and make sure that you can set up orientation. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, and cause 641-399, State of Texas versus Nicholas Alexander Heffernan. State, did this start out as a DWI first or is this a reduction?
It started out as a DWI open container, and we're gonna waive the open container.
Okay, so state moves to waive open container enhancement.
Correct.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Okay, Mr. Heffernan, to the charge of driving while intoxicated. First offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
You're in agreement for Mr. Heffernan.
Yes, Judge. It's 12 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine, court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CAD/SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
We've reviewed it. We appreciate Ms. O'Connor's kindness and we accept.
Fair enough. Mr. Heffernan, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. Assess a $300 fine plus court costs, 36 hours of community service. DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drug, Smart Start interlock for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Heffernan?
No, Judge.
And he also gets proactive credit for a DIP course. Is that not correct, defense?
We have completed a education course. We've done the, what is that? The CAD/SNP program, and we have
victim impact.
and we've done the VIP, Your Honor.
Okay, so you've done the victim impact panel, the DWI education course, and CAD/SNP?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow, just provide, I have a copy of, I think, the DIP graduation certificate. Just provide proof you've done all that to your probation officer, and I'm gonna go ahead and put in the record that you get credit for all those 3 things.
Yes,
Fair enough?
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate it.
Thanks for doing that. Nobody ever does that. That's good. All right, anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Heffernan?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Heffernan, did you understand what Ms. Benavides told you about contacting probation, et cetera?
Yes, Your Honor. Could I get that phone number one more time, please?
Sure, Pat?
Yes, the phone number is area code 210-335-00.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the last 4, please?
7200.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Heffernan. Thank you, Mr. Meister.
You bet. Thank you. May we be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Alfaro.
Yes, sir.
648531 to the charge of prostitution-payor. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
You're in agreement for Mr. Alfaro.
Yes, Judge. 6/12.
No, this is the one we changed it to deferred last time on March 2nd. All right, so why not deferred? And you talked to your partner then, he said, okay, we'll do deferred.
Okay, well, he never updated it. Do you happen to have the email from him?
No, it was March 2nd last time we were here. We did it or on
All about
Zoom.
Coronado, his word is his bond. If he says it happens, it happens.
So all you changed was what?
To deferred instead of regular probation.
So 12 months deferred?
Yes.
Okay, and that's it? That you
Yes.
changed? Okay.
Yes.
So Judge, it would be 12 months deferred, $200 fine, court costs, an AIDS awareness class, and a no contact order with the intersection of Guadalupe and Picosa.
That is agreement.
Thank you. And I apologize, you guys. It takes me a while to write this down without having an actual file. And my normal little cheat sheet on this thing, it takes me forever to write this down. So I'm sorry it's that way, but it's that way.
Okay, sir.
Blame it on the play. But Alexis, I owe you forever for typing this up for me so we don't have to go through that.
I always type it up, Judge, so I'll just send it to you from now on.
That's great. It helps them instantly. And no DA's ever done that for me. How nice. Okay, Mr. Alfaro, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of prostitution / payor. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It's a $200 fine plus court costs, AIDS awareness course, or do you have no contact with the intersection of Guadalupe and Picoso Streets in Bexar County, San Antonio, Texas. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Alfaro?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Is this a decoy police officer case? Todd, do you know?
I don't know.
Mr. Alfaro, is this like a decoy police officer case?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yes, it was. I'm sorry, it was.
Okay. Yeah. If they're pretty, that's the first sign that, there's a problem. Anyway, good luck on all that.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Alfaro?
No, Judge.
Good luck, Mr.
Nothing
Alfaro.
further.
Thank you, Mr. Coronado. Mr. Alfaro, did you understand what Pat told you about probation? That gets a little confusing.
No, I got it, sir.
All right, you're the man. Thanks for your help.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You bet.
Thank you.
Class 637501, Ms. Miranda, to the charge of theft, $100 to $750. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Miranda?
Yes.
9 months deferred adjudication, $200 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, an ATSE course, and a no contact order with the Walmart at 8500 Jones Maltsburg.
Okay, defense, I'm gonna make it all Walmarts in San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas. She's gonna have to find a new place to shop. Other than that, it's all good. Is that acceptable to the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Miranda, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of theft, $100 to $750. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 9 months deferred adjudication probation. Is that a $200 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, ATSE anti-theft course, or do you have no contact with any Walmart store in San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas during the term of your probation? Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Miranda?
No, Judge.
And Ms. Miranda, do you understand how to get in touch with probation if you need to?
Yes, sir.
Great. Y'all are dismissed. Thanks for your help.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Can I have the number for the probation? Or
Yes, it is 210-335-7200. Ask for intake.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Moore on class 630-779 and state once again, did this start out as an offense above DWI first and you're reducing it?
Correct, Judge. It started out as a DWI .15, and the state is gonna move to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted.
No objection.
Imagine not.
Alexis, do you have it noted there that this is a deferred?
Yes.
Okay. And then one last thing, I'm sorry to throw these on you last minute. Mr. Moore's license is suspended for the next somewhere about 2 years. Do you have any objection to doing the handheld device instead of Smart Start Mobile?
Judge,
Mobile is a handheld device. You're confusing me.
Okay. Sorry about that. Just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, it's about the size of a cell phone, and you blow into it normally 4 times a day unless you do bad things, and I crank it up to 6.
Okay. Well, they change the name of these things every other week, it seems like. So
Okay, so Dave has made a motion to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement. No objection from the defense, that is granted. Therefore, Ms. Zamora to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contenderation.
Court accepts plea of no contest to DWI first. Is there an agreement for Ms. Zamora?
12 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI intervention, DIP, CAD snip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. De La Rosa, is that your understanding of the agreement?
that is the agreement, Your Honor.
Ms. Zamora, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI intervention program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drug course, and Smart Start Mobile home interlock for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Zamora?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
And Ms. Zamora, do you understand how to get in touch with the probation department if that becomes necessary?
Yes, sir. I've made notes.
Thank you. Good luck, y'all. Y'all are released.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Ocean, and cause 650-748 to the charge of prostitution. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Ocean?
6 months deferred adjudication, $200 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, an AIDS awareness class, and a no contact order with the intersection of West Cesar Chavez Boulevard and Enrique M. Barrera Parkway.
And is that correct, Judge De Hoyos? Judge Joanna, can you hear me?
Mr. Ocean, you're calling?
Is her microphone off?
No.
You're muted.
Muted.
Joanne, you're muted.
Again, no? Oh,
No,
Oh, we can hear you, Mr. Boshin. We can't hear Joanne.
We're looking for Judge Joanna. She may have.
Judge, this is Joanne Lewis, Your Honor. Judge Abascal says hi. He just came on my Zoom, so if we could take the plea real quick.
Okay, Judge Joanne, what I was, did you hear the plea bargain?
Yes, I know the plea bargain, Your Honor.
My understanding is it's going to be defendant no contest to prostitution, get 6 months deferred adjudication probation,
Yes.
$200 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, AIDS awareness, and no contact with
Cesar Chavez.
West Cesar Chavez Boulevard and Fabrique M. Barrera Parkway.
Exactly. That is our agreement, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
May I go back?
You may go back.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Motion, and clause 650-748, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the crime of prostitution. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 6 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $200 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, requiring you to go to the AIDS awareness course and to have no contact with the intersection of West Cesar Chavez Boulevard and Enrique M. Barrera Parkway in Bexar County, San Antonio, Texas. Do you have any questions, sir?
no, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions on how to get in touch with probation if you need to? Did you get that number?
Yes, I have it here. I believe it's 335-7200.
I think that's
And-
okay.
That's
So
right.
thanks for your
All
help.
right.
You're dismissed.
Okay, all right, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Little, in cause 634-882. State, once again, she's pleading to DWI first. Is this being reduced?
No, it started as a DWI first, Judge.
Ms. Little, in cause 634-882 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Little?
12 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine, court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CATSNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
Is that correct, defense?
That's my understanding of the agreement, Judge. Is there a difference between the Smart Start Mobile and the interlock ignition in the court?
The ignition interlock is actually mounted in the vehicle. And we don't use that because the only time we can monitor somebody with an ignition interlock is when they're attempting to drive that car. And if you're a professional drinker, in my experience, you have two cars and one has the ignition interlock. And if you're not drinking, you drive that one. And the other one does not have one. And that's the one you drive if you're out partying. So we use this Smart Start mobile device, which is a handheld 24-hour a day remote type device the size of a cell phone. And we monitor, we make them blow every 6 hours. And if they decide they want to drink something, we catch them, and that works really well for us.
Okay, yes, Judge. I think that was the only deviation from what I had written down was I think I had written down interlock. And Miss Little has completed the DWI education program and the victim impact panel. I think the state has those certificates.
Okay, she needs to provide copies of those to a probation officer. I'll go ahead and annotate it on the record, when I type this up and send it into the clerk, that she gets proactive credit for those courses.
All right. And that, other than that, Judge, that is my understanding of the agreement.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. People wonder why I run out of pen ink all the time, but it's the way it is. Miss Little, in clause 634-882, the court accepts your plea. There was no contest? Yep, no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. That says a $300 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile for 6 months. You're going to get proactive credit for the DWI education course and the victim impact panel. Just need to show your graduation certificates to your probation officer, and we'll take care of that. Anything further from the state or the defense on Miss Little?
Nothing from the defense, Judge.
Okay, Miss Little.
Ms. Little, do you have the phone number that you need for probation?
Yes, ma'am. 210-335-7200 and
All
ask for
right,
intake.
within 48 hours, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Petrozek. Thank you, Ms. Little. You're dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, that's the first batch. We're going to take a 5-minute break while I get organized for the second batch, and we'll get y'all out here as soon as we can. So if you got something you want to do for 5 minutes, here's your big chance.
Thank you.
Taylor,
Yes.
do you have Mr. Johnson there?
Yes.
That's what I figured. Thank you.
I
For doing the paperwork so quickly and getting that done.
Yes, and I sent you another email for the scram
Yes.
removal.
Yeah.
Hopefully Judge will sign off on it this afternoon so he can go straight from here to get it off.
Right. As soon as we get off here, then I'll look at everything that I've received and send it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Taylor. Thank you.
Miss Pat,
Yes.
on Aaron Jaramillo, any need for me to stay anymore?
No, the judge already realized he was an FTA, so you may leave, and I'll make sure that he knows you were on. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, I don't like this.
Pat, are you with me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Confirm that we only have 5 cases left. Byron Johnson, Samantha Rodriguez, Diego Mata, Steve Buckley, and Raymond Morris. Is that correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me know when everybody's ready and we'll get these folks out of here.
Okay.
When any of you attorneys or defendants that I can't see because it's just your name are ready to go, just turn your picture back on and I'll be able to tell when we're all ready.
Okay, I believe we just need Marshall.
He'll be back. He always returns to the scene of the crime.
Hello, Judge.
There you go. All righty, we're ready then.
Okay, we got Miss Wood and Mr. Johnson, is that correct?
Yes.
And I've got Mr. White and Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Ms. Rodriguez is on the call.
I got Mr. Mata and Mr. Garcia, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buckley and Mr. Zarzua,
Yes, sir, we're here.
and Mr. Morris and Mr. Vasquez.
We
Yes,
are
Your
both
Honor.
here.
All good. I got cause 640-462, State of Texas versus Byron Johnson. 625-672, State of Texas versus Samantha Rodriguez. 640-821, State of Texas versus Diego Mata. 645-288, State of Texas versus Steve Buckley. 658-5, State of Texas versus Raymond Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I need you to identify your signature on a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. And Mr. Johnson, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Wood, as attorney for Mr. Johnson, this be your signature on this?
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Rodriguez, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. White, is this your signature on Ms. Rodriguez document?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Mata, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the attorney for Mr. Mata, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Buckley, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Buckley, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Morris, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Vasquez, the attorney for Mr. Morris, is this your signature on this document?
It is.
Thank you very much. This document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights, the court's admonitions that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Johnson, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Rodriguez, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mata, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buckley, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Morris, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Mata? Mr. Mata, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Is that correct, Mr. Buckley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Raymond, you can answer that question.
I didn't hear it. Yes.
Your signature on the document. It's a waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonition.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Mata?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Buckley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Morris?
Yes, Your Honor.
As attorney for Mr. Johnson, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Judge.
Same question for Mr. White as attorney for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Judge.
Marshall.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Same question for Mr. Garcia as attorney for Mr. Mata.
Yes, sir.
Same question for Mr. Zarazua as attorney for Mr. Buckley.
Yes, Judge.
Same question for Mr. Vasquez as attorney for Mr. Morris.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you very much. Same question for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Mata.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Buckley.
I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Morris.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wood, as attorney for Mr. Johnson, does the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Judge.
Same question for Mr. White, as attorney for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Mata.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Zarazua, as attorney for Mr. Buckley.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Vasquez, as attorney for Mr. Morris.
They have.
Okay, on cause 640-462, State of Texas versus Byron Johnson. There's no reduction. It's just going to be a plea to DWI with BAC 0.15 or higher. Is that correct, State?
Correct, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, in cause 640-462 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Or Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Judge. It's 1/2, $400 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service probated, DWI intervention, DIP, CATS IOP, 120 days in SATIF or a 90-day inpatient equivalent, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and restitution, if any, to William Edward Donnell.
And Ms. Wood, this is going to run concurrent with a case we did yesterday, which is
Yes.
Are there any other variations on the theme on this agreement?
I'm sorry, you cut out, Judge.
Sure. Is that your agreement that you understand that touches all the bases that we need to touch for Mr. Johnson?
I think it should be 18 months instead of the 2 years.
That would be up to you and the state.
Did you confer with Nick yesterday?
Yeah. Yes.
And he agreed to 18 months?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be 1 year in the Bear County Jail probation for 18 months. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Get into this. What is y'all's understanding of when Mr. Johnson is going to be able to enter the Lifetime Recovery Residential Program?
He'll be reporting tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So we were hoping to get the scram removal order signed so he can head over there now to get it off.
Great.
And he'll need to see about getting the GPS device on this afternoon also.
And did y'all determine it's not a lockdown facility? I think you can just walk out the door if you're there. They call it inpatient, but it's not a lockdown facility. Do you agree?
I agree, Judge. It's not a lockdown facility. We have had many clients attend their program, and I'm not aware of anyone that's ever left it. We have had one person kicked out, but for the most part, people comply with the rules.
Your Honor, may I ask Taylor a question? Because I believe that Mr. Johnson has to orientation at 2 at probation. He is going to be able to be there?
He won't. He'll be transported after the assessment at 8 a.m. right to the residential facility. So we were going to see if he could do whatever he needed to do with probation this afternoon. Obviously, we're cutting it pretty close.
There won't be the paperwork won't be ready. The clerks won't get the information until after all of this is finished. The clerks then have to put all the information in, then send it to probation. I don't know that they will be able to do that. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and my concern is him signing his probation.
All right, Taylor, here's what I would suggest. Worst case scenario, one of your attorneys can.
Your Honor, you're going in and out.
Mr. Buckley, can you mute your microphone, please?
Mute his phone because everybody's, thank you.
Judge, you're muted. Judge, you're on mute.
You're muted. Unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Everybody likes it when I'm muted, if you'll know.
Yeah, that's.
All I heard was, Taylor, this is what I want you to do. And then it cut off after that.
My theory is this: if Mr. Johnson can get on a Zoom computer over at this facility, that we can get probation to brief him that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of your attorneys can take a laptop over there with a portable Wi-Fi hotspot or something. And in other words, you and I both want him in inpatient at the soonest possible time. And secondarily comes being briefed by probation in my mind. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. We'll get him briefed by probation, but we need access to Zoom or something to do it, I guess is where I'm going. Is that sound like we can do?
Lifetime will work with us on the Zoom.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. Thank you.
You know, Mr. Johnson, you spent an awful long time in the Army of the United States. They taught you how to escape from POW compounds and stuff. You're not going to run on me, are you?
I saw plenty of them, sir.
Okie dokie. And Taylor, I had originally contemplated using GPS, but I'm not going to do it. I may have ordered on the other one, but I'm going to take it off this afternoon, so that's not going to hold him up and getting in there. If you have any problems, you have my cell phone number. Call me directly, and so I can talk to those folks and make sure we get him in there as soon as possible. I don't want any problems or speed bumps in the road.
That sounds good. Thank you, Judge. The last thing, just to make the state and the court aware, the victim did file an insurance claim or a claim with Byron's Insurance, a bodily injury and a property damage claim, and they are both settled.
Okay, wonderful. Let's see, that one. Okay, Sergeant First Class Johnson and clause 640462. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content 0.15 or higher. I find you guilty. I says 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months, a $400 fine plus court costs. 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, 120 days in the substance abuse treatment facility or 90 days in lifetime recovery residential program, whichever comes first. My understanding is we think we can get you into the 90-day lifetime recovery residential program this afternoon, which would be wonderful. And if we can do that, that's great. Worst case scenario, if that doesn't work out, you need to report to the Bexar County Jail at 9:00 a.m. on Monday morning and be remanded without bond so we can get you in one of these things. That's just fail safe. I'm on your team. I want you to go to the lifetime recovery deal this afternoon. Smart Start Mobile, it's within 10 days, as soon as you get out of that facility in 90 days. This case will run concurrent with 529925. State, what did I miss? Let's see, I didn't look at your document.
I believe you got it all, Judge.
Defense, what did I miss?
I think that's everything. If we
Okay.
could get the screen removal order signed by you so he can head over to get it removed.
Say that one more time, please.
If we could just get the scram removal order signed by you.
Absolutely. And restitution, if any, to William Edward Donnell. Apparently, the defense has already got that squared away, but once again, fail safe if something, a claim arises that we're unaware of at this time. Worst case scenario, we can have another hearing in the future on restitution if that becomes necessary, but it sounds like the defense has already got that squared away. Okay, Mr. Johnson, you're my favorite defendant now. You got to do good.
Yes, sir.
All right. Taylor, I'm going to cut you loose. If you have any problem, call me.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Good luck, Sergeant First Class Johnson.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. And on Ms. Rodriguez's case, 625672, is this a reduction to DWI first, or did it start out as a DWI first?
It started out as a DWI 0.15.
Okay, so the state's moving to waive the enhancement, that'd be correct?
No, Judge.
I'm sorry, I missed it. It started out as a what?
Judge, it started out as a 0.15 and it's staying as a 0.15.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking at the paperwork and it says DWI. It doesn't say greater than 0.15. So I'm fixing it. And defense, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Rodriguez in clause 625672 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Ms. Rodriguez?
Judge, it's uncertain at this time. Defense counsel messaged me wanting to reconsider the plea during your 5-minute break, and I'm not going to make a split-second decision without having time to evaluate the case properly. So I'm not sure at this time.
I'm sorry, Mr. White. What is your concern?
Defense counsel asked me to reconsider.
My concern is that I would like to, consider the possibility of Ms. Rodriguez being placed on deferred adjudication, Your Honor. She is on deferred adjudication in a felony case that was a companion case to this DWI, and that was what that was a matter I raised with Ms. O'Connor.
By law, she can only get deferred on a DWI first offense, not greater than 1.5, is my understanding. Is that?
Yeah, I looked into that matter, and so however the court wants to proceed, if they want to reset and allow the state to reconsider, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine. The court doesn't.
Well, let's go with what y'all's original agreement was, if that's okay. And we'll run it concurrent with the felony for whatever's going on. But my understanding is that she's pleading no contest to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. Is that okay with you, Mr. White?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, fair enough. State, is there an agreement in this case, please?
8/12, $500 fine, court costs, DWI education, dip, CAT-SNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and it'll run concurrent with cause number 2020CR2475.
And what kind of case is 2020 CR2475?
Evading.
And Mr. White, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Rodriguez, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. I find you guilty. I says 8 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine plus court costs, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, Smart Start Mobile home interlock for 6 months. This case will run concurrent with 2020 CR2475. Is that correct?
Correct, Judge.
Okay. For all purposes. And Marshall, is that correct?
It is correct, Your Honor.
And state, is that correct?
Correct, Judge.
Okay. Good luck, Ms. Rodriguez. Thank you, Marshall.
Judge, just real quickly, considering everything Mr. Rodriguez is going to have to do on both cases, could the court consider the minimum supervisory fees as far as this case is concerned?
Ms. Rodriguez and every other defendant in our court gets a minimum supervisory fee. Not a problem.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Good luck, Ms. Rodriguez. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. I'll be in touch.
Thanks. Okay. Mr. Mata on clause 640821. And once again, state, did this start out as an offense higher than DWI first?
No, Judge, it started out as just a DWI first.
Okay. Mr. Mata on clause 640821 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Mata?
6/12, $300 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education, Dip, Catснip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
Defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mata, on cause 640-821, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drugs, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Mata?
No, Judge.
Good luck,
No,
Mr.
Your
Mata.
Honor.
And thank you, Mr. Garcia. Let's see. In cause 645-288, Mr. Buckley, to the charge of indecent exposure, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
An agreement for Mr. Buckley.
6 months deferred adjudication, $200 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, and a no contact order with 6600 Sawyer Road.
Okay, Mr. Buckley, in cause 645-288, the court accepts your plea of no contest to defense of indecent exposure. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold finding of guilt, place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $200 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, or you have no contact with 6600 Sawyer Road, Leon Valley, Texas, 78238. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Buckley?
Judge, I just want to confirm, did you say a year deferred adjudication or 6 months deferred adjudication?
Said a year. Let's see what it is.
Because the agreement was.
Buckley is 6 months.
Missed it, excuse me. Good catch. 6 months deferred adjudication probation, not a year. Fair enough?
Fair enough, Judge. Thank you.
And the state even spelled it out for me and I missed it. Oh, no. Okay, all good. Mr. Buckley, you had a contact probation if you need to?
Yes, sir. I remember the number.
All right, we're all good. You are dismissed. Thanks for your help.
Thank you,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Alexis.
In cause 638-535, state of Texas versus Raymond Morris. And in this case, started out as a enhanced DWI in some capacity.
Correct, Judge. This case started out as a DWI .15, and the state is moving to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
Oh, that crafty Mr. Vasquez was at it again. Okay, state's motion to waive greater than 0.15 enhancement is granted. Therefore, Mr. Morris, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Morris?
12 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine, court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, Catснip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Vasquez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
That is correct, Judge, and I've also informed him of the ability to pay out the community service hours.
Yeah, just donate $10 an hour to a court charity and give that to your probation officer and we're good. Okay, Mr. Morris, in cause 638-535. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, DWI for traffic safety, new intervention program, outpatient drug, and Smart Start mobile home interlock for 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Morris?
Nothing further.
Okay.
Morris, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Mr. Morris, you know how to contact the probation department if you need to?
I do, sir.